Good afternoon, students. Once again, I am back, Joydeep Datta, teacher of English of Jhajia Gopal Chandra High School and formerly attached to Debra Horimoti Saraswat Vidya Mandir. Today, our topic of discussion is Mild the Mist Upon the Hill, written by Emily Jane Bronte. It is in your class 9 syllabus. At first, a plain reading of the poem. Mild the mist upon the hill, telling not of storms tomorrow. No, the day has wept its fill, spent its store of silent sorrow. Oh, I am gone back to the days of youth. I am a child once more, and neath my father's sheltering roof, and near the old hall door, I watch this cloudy evening fall. After a day of rain, blue mists, sweet mists of summer pearl, the horizon's mountain chain. The damp stands in the long green grass, as thick as morning's tears, and dreamy scents of fragrance pass that breathe of other ears. Before beginning the explanation of the poem, I'm a bit hesitant about the capability of the students whether they would understand the inner implication of the meaning of the poem or not, because this is a poem which is which can be best appreciated by those who are already grown up like us. But the children who are enjoying still the golden period of their life, the most golden period of their life, the childhood, most probably they can't understand the real meaning of this poem, because we who have already gone past the golden phase of our life, that is childhood is, we can very easily understand and evaluate the inner implication of the poem, because we are a bit melancholic in this regard, we are a bit sorrowful in this regard, that we have already gone past such a golden period of our life. But the children, they are still enjoying the golden period of their life, that is childhood. Therefore, I am a bit dubious whether they can really understand the inner implication of the poem or not. But that's another matter. Obviously, we have to try to understand the inner implication of the meaning. So let's have a discussion regarding that. Mild the mist upon the hill, telling not of storms tomorrow. No, the day has wept its fill. Actually, Emily Jane Bronte, who is the writer of this poem or the narrator of the poem, she is watching a very fantastic scenic beauty. The narrator of the poem is watching a very fantastic scenic beauty. Mild the mist upon the hill. Along the horizon, there is a chain of hills, and upon the hill, or the hill was surrounded by a thin layer, a mild layer of mist or fog, telling not of storms tomorrow. And this mist does not give any premonition of calamity. It does not give the premonition of calamity. There is no calamity. It does not suggest any sort of bad weather, telling not of storms tomorrow. No, the day has wept its fill. That means the entire rainfall has been done. The day has wept its fill, spent its store of silent sorrow. Whatever sorrow the day had, whatever sorrow the day had in a suppressed condition in its heart, was totally spent, has totally got an outlet in the form of rainfall. Therefore, there is no a chance of rainfall anymore. There is no chance of calamity. There is no chance of storm. So it's a very peaceful weather that was prevailing at that time. Oh, I am gone back to the days of youth. I am a child once more. This peaceful weather outside reminds the poet of a very peaceful phase of someone's life, that is childhood. Because childhood is the most peaceful phase of our life. Whenever we come of age, whenever we grow up, at that time we have to face different sorts of problems and worries and tensions, and therefore naturally we want to get rid of all those sorts of problems. But it's really a matter of great misfortune. We are really unfortunate that few of us can get rid of that sort of predicament we suffer from. We can't go back to our childhood actually. We can never go back to our childhood. It's not possible for anybody. But we can dream of going back to our childhood. We can dream. And that dream actually gives us sustenance. That dream is simultaneously pleasant and painful. It's pleasant because whenever we are dreaming of our childhood, We enjoy our past days, our bygone days, our halcyon days. Okay? But when the dream is shattered, we come to the reality. The reality dawns upon us. What happens? Once again, the stark reality stands in front of us, read in, totally in a, in a naked fashion. The reality comes in front of us. We can understand that we are no longer in our childhood. We are no longer in the childhood. We are in our adulthood. And the adulthood is very bitter, it's painful, and you, the children, I'm sure you can't understand how painful, how embittered this adulthood is. You can't understand. Whenever you will grow up, will come of your age, at that time you may understand that I think it's not you may understand, rather, you sure understand, you must understand that what a golden period of your life you have already spent. And it's quite impossible for us to run the clock anti-clockwise. It's not possible because anti-clockwise movement is not possible. So we can never go back to the past. It's not possible. We can never go back to the past. Time is a flow that's always flowing, that has been flowing from time immemorial. We don't know from when. The time has always been flowing from past towards future. Time will never flow back from future towards past. It will never flow back, but only in our dream it can flow back. So I am gone back to the days of youth. I am a child once more. The poetess, or the lady poet, Emily Jane Bronte, she is saying that she has become a child once more. Obviously, she has not become a child biologically, but she has become a child psychologically. She has become a child mentally. It's the inner process, it's a soul realization. If we go deeper into the analysis of the poem, then you can understand that what a great psychological matter it is. It has a great psychological dimension actually, and Emily Jane Bronte is going back towards her own childhood, her own infancy. She is actually dreaming about her own childhood, about her own infancy, as all of us do. And neath my father's sheltering roof and near the old hall door. Actually, father, it's a very intimate concept for all, most probably for all of us. Father is the name of one of the, not one of the, rather the greatest umbrella that we have in our life. Father is the greatest umbrella or one of the greatest umbrellas that we have in our life. You can also compare father to a banyan tree also. When father is there, when banyan tree is there, when umbrella is there, when banyan tree is there, then you will get some sort of peace, you will get some sort of shade, some sort of shadow from the scorching sunlight of sun. And in your life, your father plays the role of that banyan tree, plays the role of that umbrella who always protects you from all sorts of bad weather. So, Emily Jane Bronte, once again, she, in her dream, she is going back to her father. Actually, she thinks that she is beneath the father's sheltering roof. She is in a comfort zone. Actually, whenever we grow up, we are exposed to the sunlight, we are exposed to the scorching sunshine, different sorts of traumas and troubles and perils and difficulties and hardships come souring upon us. And it's our father, in our childhood, as the father always protected us from all sorts of bad weather, from all sorts of problems. We also in our adulthood, we also dream of having that sheltering father once again, but it's not always possible because we grow up. At that time, father may not be with us, he may have been dead, whatever. So whatever the matter is, Emily Jane Bronte, however, she once again goes back to her childhood and she gets back the company of her father. She gets back the company of her father. Okay, that company is very pleasant. And near the old hall door, I watch this cloudy evening fall after a day of rain, blue mists, sweet mists of summer pearl, the horizon's mountain chain. I watch this cloudy evening fall. So this is the time, evening, and this evening is psychologically a very transforming evening. Okay, it causes a sort of metamorphosis. I have already told you in some previous lecture that metamorphosis means a kind of transformation. Metamorphosis, transformation, a kind of change. Okay, it's a inner change, it's a soul change that happens in the heart of Emily Jane Bronte. Emily Jane Bronte herself gets changed, she gets metamorphosed, she gets transformed because once again she becomes a child. How is it possible? The scenic beauty outside, the beauty of mist, the beauty of the hill, the beauty of the horizon play the role of the catalyst. Play the role of the catalyst that causes a reaction which happens, which occurs in her heart, and the reaction causes a total metamorphosis, a change. Now, obviously, the metamorphosis is not a permanent one, it's a temporary one, it's a temporary change, it's a temporary metamorphosis, but whatever temporary it may be, actually, in spite of that, it causes or it gives us some sort of relief from the overburdened schedule, of our life. Blue mists, sweet mists of summer pearl, the horizon's mountain chain. Emily Jane Bronte watches the blue mists. Blue, blue is a very pleasant color. The color of the mist is blue. Sweet mists. It is sweet. So two adjectives have been given here, blue and sweet, in order to characterize the beauty of the mist. The mist is very pleasant. There is no doubt regarding the fact. Of summer pearl. Pearl means cloud. Of summer pearl. It's the weather of summer. And summer is a very pleasant season in their country. Summer is a very pleasant season. So this pleasant atmosphere reminds her of the pleasant phase of her life, that is childhood, infancy. That age which is totally free of all sorts of burdens and calamities. There was no calamity when we were children, and you, the children you think that your childhood is burdened, but actually it is not so. When you will also grow up, you will feel that your childhood was not so burdened as your adulthood is. So let's come to the final stanza of the poem. The damp stands in the long green grass, as thick as morning's tears, and dreamy scents of fragrance pass that breathe of other years. The damp means moisture, water droplets, stands in the long green grass. Long green grass was there in the lawn, and moisture was accumulated there. It was deposited, as thick as morning's tears. As thick as morning's tears. Tears is an expression, the watery expression of our sorrow is called tears, and the moisture is compared to tears. That means these tears suggests the tears that often fall from the eyes of not only Emily Jane Bronte, rather of the humanity in general. We sometimes shed tears, we weep as a result of our sorrow that we suffer from, and always we want to get rid of that sorrowful experience. We don't want to be melancholy. In spite of that, we want to get rid of melancholy. In spite of that, we have to face melancholy. We have to face melancholia. We have to become melancholy. We don't want melancholia. We don't want sorrow. We don't want to be morose. In spite of that, we have to be morose. We have to be sorrowful in our life. That is the experience of our life, the tragic experience of our life, and we want to get rid of that experience. Therefore, and dreamy scents of fragrance pass that breathe of other years. There was a fragrance. Fragrance means, very sweet smell. The sweet smell was coming out of the nature. The sweet smell was coming, and that sweet smell reminded the poet of her bygone days. Of her bygone days, that means the halcyon days. Once again, I am referring to the term halcyon days. Halcyon days, the term halcyon days means the days which were once upon a time, the golden days which are no longer here. Once upon a time, the days were existent, but no longer they are not here. So those days, this fragrance, the fragrance reminds the poet of the days, that sweet days, that peaceful days that have been spent and that will not come back. In spite of that, she was reminded of that days. Actually, this fragrance gives us a kind of outlet, gives us a way out. It gives us, it shows us a path of exodus from the sorrowful experience of the present time. So that's very important. This poem is an outstanding study in the sense that this poem actually darts back and forth between past and future. Past and future. These are the two polarities of the poem, and the entire pendulum swings from these, in between these two polarities, past and future. So this is an outstanding poem. Personally, I am very much fond of this poem. I think you are also enjoying the poem. You have already enjoyed the poem. It's an outstanding piece of poetry. Actually, I'm once again at the fag end of my lecture. I would once again share my views about this poem with you. I don't know whether you can surely understand the meaning of this poem or not. Theoretically, you may understand the poem, but psychologically, whether you can understand the poem or not, I'm not quite sure. When you will grow up, I am sure you must discover a truer meaning, a truer implication of the poem, because then you will face the real hardships of life. You are now going through a very pleasant situation of your life. So whatever that may be, I think you have already understood the poem. If my lecture satisfies you, I like a share. I like a thumbs up impression from you. Obviously, you must share it. You must share it as much as possible, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Okay? Thank you.